Hello, and welcome to the Post-Professional Doctor of Occupational Therapy Curriculum Design and Opportunity webinar presented by Rehab Essentials and the University of Montana. In today's webinar, we're going to be discussing the curriculum design of the post-professional OTD, the desired outcomes and benefits of the curriculum, as well as the opportunities to become educators, clinical leaders, program developers, or clinical researchers. This morning, your presenters are Dr. Adrienne Lauer and Dr. Sheeler. Dr. Lauer, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks very much. Yes, I am Dr. Adrienne Lauer. I am the program director for the post-professional OTD degree here at the University of Montana. I am excited to speak about the program and answer any questions you might have. My own background is in education. Specifically, my doctorate is in instructional technology and distance ed, which gives me a lot of interest and buy-in to a program set up just like ours. I have a background in management, academia, and rehab, as well as working overseas, which some of that you may hear about as if you enter the program and hear more about our experiences. Thanks.
And Dr. Sheeler, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Sheeler. Went to school to get my Doctor of Physical Therapy back in the early 2000s, then went on to get a distance learning MBA program. I've been with Rehab Essentials really since its inception back in 2004, 2005. I've been full-time with them since 2011 as the academic coordinator for our transitional and post-professional programs. We really aim to try and strive to maintain that balance for the working family professional as they're going through and trying to elevate their academics.
Thank you both. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn today's session over to Dr. Lauer to discuss the post-professional Doctor of Occupational Therapy curriculum design.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah, so a lot of questions and valid questions surround the difference between post-professional OTD versus an entry-level OTD program. And first of all, the entry-level OT degree is for someone that has not practiced, their first time gaining their degree in occupational therapy. So that is the degree that prepares a student to sit for the NBCOT exam versus those of you coming for a post-professional have already sat for your exam and are practicing working occupational therapists. So that's a distinct difference. We are not looking at an entry-level degree here. So entry level, again, is preparing for a career in OT. There's field work involved in it. There's experiential components versus the post-professional OTD degree for all of you would be perhaps someone that's already in academia or is seeking a terminal degree and a doctorate in order to teach. It also includes that ability now with a post-professional OTD degree to assume leadership roles in clinical practice, academia, and or in the community. So our program looks at elevating students to a situation of an expert level of growth, both through the educational aspects that you bring to the table, whatever coursework you've done and academic experiences you've had, and creating now leaders in the field of occupational therapy and enabling you to contribute and elevate this profession. Elevate yourself within the profession of occupational therapy and allowing you to contribute to the elevation of the profession as a whole, more globally, more on a larger scale, not only yourself as an individual, but elevating the profession of occupational therapy. So there are some core curriculum elements that we thought about and infused in the curriculum while we were developing it. There is an emphasis on the foundations of excellent practice through theory, evidence, and applying both theory and evidence in all of the assignments and practical assignments, if you will. Yeah, practical application of all of those ideas throughout the curriculum. There's an emphasis in advanced practice in the future and thinking about the future of how occupational therapy will develop and has developed, and what our role in the future of our profession is. Communicating occupational therapy's distinct value to any and many stakeholders is also an emphasis throughout the curriculum. How do you advocate for the profession? How do you articulate what it is that you do? And how do you define this distinct value of what you are asking stakeholders to invest in and work with you around if you're creating programs, et cetera. And there is emphasis on quality improvement, on prevention, health disability, and occupational science, knowledge translation. All of those things are continuous themes throughout the curriculum. So these are the 4 core elements or areas that we continuously thought about and revisited and focused on in developing the curriculum. That is, how do we advance the knowledge that you're going to use, be able to use and use moving forward? How do we enhance competencies in the profession of occupational therapy? How do we enrich practice? And how do we refine professionalism? How do we define it? And how do we help you to see yourself as leaders and professionals that can take all this new knowledge and move forward in your careers, whether clinically or academically, and use your new and advanced knowledge to promote and elevate the profession? So what do we mean by advanced knowledge? Again, we're looking at courses that are developed to give you advanced theory and practice skills. Those who have earned their degrees some many years ago might not be acutely aware of some of the advances in theory, some of the new theory development. And so we have opportunities to explore those and apply them to what we find ourselves working in, and with populations we find ourselves working in. There's the advanced knowledge and the ability to contribute to clinical research, to examine the research that is out there in the profession, and to look at the continuum of education and how this profession has developed to date in terms of the level of education required to participate in healthcare in the United States. And in terms of enhanced competency, we have thought throughout the curriculum and the courses to how do we foster clinical thinking, clinical and professional reasoning, and how do we help to analyze or help you analyze situations that require clinical and professional reasoning at its highest level. And how do we look at intervention? How do we look at evaluation? And how do you look at outcomes for all of those things? Again, whether it's clinical or academic based, how do you measure outcomes? How do you measure the degree to what you are offering that distinct value to clients and customers? And how do you have the skills to measure those outcomes and then to articulate those outcomes to others? In terms of an enriched practice. We've infused throughout the curriculum ideas and opportunities to reflect on self-directed practice. How do we examine what it is we are doing currently in practice, and how do we critically analyze that, and how do we direct ourselves and others around us to challenge the process, if you will, and create an infused theory, create an infused evidence-based practice. How do we transfer our new knowledge to others and other healthcare professionals? How do we infuse and use models to shape what it is we are doing in the clinic, excuse me, and how do we examine and continuously look at performance skills, patterns, and processes to enrich practice and our ability to advance our clients. And then finally, in terms of refined professionalism, again, it's development of reasoning skills, development of innovation and innovative practice, development of you as a professional, as a leader. And then how do we assist you through the design of the curriculum and the coursework and assignments to be transforming practice, whether locally, nationally, or internationally, and how do you develop skills, and how do we purposely infuse in the curriculum opportunities for you to become mentors and be mentored by others, so that you feel as though you can leave the program with that post-professional doctorate and with the ability to influence others working beside you, influence stakeholders to have faith in the changes that you might suggest, and then influence the profession as a whole within the realm of healthcare. This is a visual, and a nice visual to let you have a look at what, in fact, the courses are that we've put together. The middle column there shows the courses that a student would be taking who comes in with a bachelor's degree and is advancing towards the post-professional OTD. And the last column shows the courses that would be necessary as you advance from a master's to a post-professional doctorate. So I think it's a really good visual of what you'll be doing from semester to semester. Generally, it's 2 courses a semester. Those of you that might be coming in with a bachelor's would be at times taking 3 courses at a time, and they're not meant to be overwhelming. They're purposely meant to be grouped together so that they're not overwhelming you. Again, we understand that this is a curriculum for practicing therapists and busy therapists who want to maintain that work-life balance. So some of the courses you might see there, you start out with very foundational classes, or reminding yourself of those foundational classes, theory, concepts, and application. And you say, well, I might have studied that, but this is a deeper dive and a more advanced, and therefore it's in the name, a more advanced look at theory and models and how to apply them to practice. And again, some of those theories have changed or been added to, as have models of practice. And so it gives everybody the opportunity to refresh them, their memory on these things, or to have insight to new knowledge. And that we start out with those foundational classes, and professional and ethical reasoning is another one of those, so that you have that opportunity to use that knowledge fresh into and infuse it into all subsequent assignments, because you'll be asked to do that. And if we look down that list, those of you that are in, again, moving from a bachelor's to a post-professional OTD, would see things about trends in OT practice, teaching and learning and technology, leading change in OT, and that gives us a great opportunity to discuss some advanced practice skills, and some things are advanced in the profession of OT that you may not have gotten otherwise. Particularly in trends in OT, a great idea or opportunity there to look at how has the career or the profession advanced. What are some of the drastic changes in documentation, in reimbursement, in where we find ourselves practicing. And so those are really great opportunities within some of those courses to really elevate yourself within the profession and gain some new knowledge to take with you moving forward and into your capstone process. So this slide, we're gonna just talk briefly about the difference in accreditation or A-code and what A-code has to say, or how much dealing they have with us as a post-professional OTD program. That is, A-code develops and maintains. You all might be the accrediting body. You might be familiar with them from having gone through your bachelor's or your master's degree in occupational therapy. They develop and maintain the accreditation standards. They give schools the standards. You must teach this, students must show competency in this item, etc. You have to show evidence that you've spoken about or taught all of these concepts. And they accredit every entry-level OT school. They come through, they examine everything, and they accredit schools. ACOTE does not do that with post-professional occupational therapy doctoral programs. They don't have a say in accrediting our curriculum, our courses, and examining them. We don't have a relationship with them in that way. In saying that, you would, as a student, be concerned that wherever you take on a degree, that the university is accredited by the regional body. For instance, I taught in the southeast portion of the United States, and there's an accredited body there called SACS. And Montana, the University of Montana, has a different accrediting body because they're in a different region of the country. So the University of Montana is accredited by that regional body for the programs and the curriculums that they have or that they are offering degrees in, but it is not specific to OT. So ACOTE only gets involved in entry-level curriculums, and we are not an entry-level. This is a post-professional degree. So it's a good question. It's an often asked question. I hope that slide and my definition helps you to understand that a little bit. So of course, we have, and you should have, desired outcomes of this post-professional degree program. So our desired outcome, our intention of putting these courses and this curriculum together are that we have an advanced generalist OT with who can function more independently in terms of applying theory, delivery of models of practice, and understanding those models and theories and systems within which we find ourselves working in. That again, the therapist can articulate and apply OT evaluation and occupational therapy interventions at a micro or a macro level and at a doctoral level. And there will be a distinct difference between what they might find themselves doing before entry into this program. And they'll be more effective consumer and a contributor, both of research and of knowledge within the profession. So not only able to read and interpret the information that is current in our profession, but also be able to contribute to some of that research and new knowledge. further outcomes would be that each of you would be able to demonstrate a commitment to lifelong learning. Certainly by applying to the program, I think each person in their own way does show a commitment to lifelong learning, does show a commitment to being a leader. That you will be able to demonstrate that commitment to lifelong learning by keeping up again with advanced or evidence-based practice, upholding ethical standards, examining what the ethical standards of the profession are, or re-examining them, examining the values and the attitudes of the OT and the doctoral level of the profession, and demonstrating active and involvement in professional development, leadership, and advocacy. So those would be some of our desired outcomes for you, and I hope that you share those desired outcomes. We want you all to be advocates for the profession and the delivery of OT services, and demonstrate a unique ability to synthesize in-depth knowledge in a practice area and that is particular interest to you, so that you would be able to complete successfully your capstone that will give evidence that you are worthy of the OTD degree. So what are the benefits of this particular post-professional OTD program? It's designed so that you can maintain that balance between life, work, and school while earning a post-professional degree, while you're gaining critical thinking and professional knowledge and skills that you can apply immediately and every day within your profession. The benefit is also elevating the profession, becoming lifelong learners, definitely in improving client outcomes and the quality of care that we provide for them, and being able to examine and articulate those outcomes, and to most definitely broaden your career opportunities. This degree will give you more opportunities, dare I say, more respect within the healthcare profession by being seated with like-minded people, but also people who quite potentially, we also see the allied health professions advancing to this degree, many of them. And so the ability to be seen on a level playing field and use that new knowledge and use the degree to get you, broaden your career options. You'll probably find yourself oftentimes able to take on new managerial roles or leadership roles or roles in academia, but you definitely need the degree to convince others that you have this particular advanced skills, and this will allow you to do that. So what are some of the opportunities we see that you'll be able to work your way into or find yourself in? Definitely clinical leadership roles, developing clinical practices, best practices, perhaps developing new clinical opportunities where you work, broadening what the clinic currently offers. Definite opportunities, as I just said, in academia, whether that's to be a clinical lead or to be involved in field work or to be involved in teaching, whatever your area of specialty is, and getting yourself in the door into academia. Definitely will have opportunities to show your skill set in developing programs, either on a local level or a community level, or just within your the building in which you practice. Definitely have opportunities to advance your skills and perform clinical research, and also opportunities for healthcare administration, and/or leadership and nonprofit administration. You'll have opportunities to explore all of these areas of interest, all of these areas occupational therapists find themselves in. And then it's really up to you how you take your new and advanced knowledge and applied skills where you take them, whether it's clinically or academically in public health or it's in research. The opportunities are there for you. So that's a little bit about the post-professional OTD program, how it was developed, what the emphasis was while we put the courses together, and a little bit of background about how ACOT is or isn't involved in post-professional education, and a little bit about what the opportunities are for you moving forward should you earn this degree. And so I'm going to turn it back over now to Dr. Sheeler, and he's going to speak to you a little bit about some of other frequently asked questions and logistics about entering the program.
Thank you for that introduction. And I'm going to talk about the post-professional OTD program as it equates to the University of Montana. I'm Jonathan Sheeler. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Rehab Essentials, and I also assist in coordinating and administrating the post-professional OTD program with the University of Montana. I've been with Rehab Essentials now actually since its inception. I've been in this role as a Chief Program Officer since 2011, and we're very excited to be able to bring a transitional or post-professional program to the OT realm. So Rehab Essentials, what do? We partner with institutions to provide a full post-professional curriculum. So you can kind of think of us as a department of post-professional transitional programs. With occupational therapy, you know, the occupational therapy professional is advancing to the doctorate profession. So therefore, we want to be able to allow anyone with a master's or bachelor's in occupational therapy to enter into that doctorate realm while still maintaining a life balance, still working, still having family commitments, still having social commitments. So we've designed this program with you in mind. Again, our main pillar is trying to maintain a balance between life, work, school, and even financial responsibility. One of those things is this is a completely virtual asynchronous program. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but virtual meaning it is 100% online. So therefore, you have access to the content material 24/7 within that semester. On day one of the semester, you will have access to 100% of the lecture material. You will have access to probably 90% of the graded requirements. And I say 90% because there are some discussion board graded requirements. So that involves peer-to-peer interaction. So obviously you can't complete those things until your peers actually participate in those things. But everything else, exams, assignments, you can see all that on day one of the semester. We've designed this program to be able to be completed within 5 semesters if you have a master's degree, 7 semesters if you have a bachelor's degree. So there are 3 semesters per year, so we're looking at as few as 20 months. And then that asynchronous portion, all right? So asynchronous meaning you don't have to be online at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, 8 a.m. on a Saturday. You can review the lecture material as you see fit. One of the big things that we've done also is we made sure that these lectures are digestible and they're in smaller segments. So most of our lectures are, no longer than 10, 20 minutes long. So therefore, if you do have a work lunch break and you want to sit down and listen to a lecture, you have time to do that. It's not going to be an hour-long lecture, a 40-minute long lecture. They are all broken down into smaller segments to be able to let you customize when you can view them in your short periods of time that you have available. Again, maintain that work-life balance. If your kids are at soccer practice and you want to sit and listen to a lecture, you can do that. If you're waiting at a doctor's appointment, you can kind of listen to a lecture if you want to do that. So whatever fits into your schedule, you'll have that full schedule again on day one to be able to figure out what fits into my life. And the biggest thing there too, also, again, in that balance is that financial balance. One thing, you obviously don't need the doctorate in order to practice. So we want to make sure that you are able to get to your goal and still not have to sacrifice going out to dinner, or eating ramen noodle, for the next 20 months of your life. So one of the things that we do when we partner with these institutions is we say, look, we want this tuition to be at a set level. For the University of Montana, it's $425 per credit. Alrighty, and that is due based upon the number of credits you're taking each semester. So you pay in little increments based upon the number of credits you're taking in each semester. The nice thing about the University of Montana as well is they allow what they call a deferred payment plan, which that then breaks up your payment into either 4 or 3 equal parts to make it even more digestible. The nice thing again about Rehab Essentials is that we have our own faculty. So we look for the content experts or the rising experts in their faculty to be able to bring the content to life for you and give you direct access to those individuals through a discussion board and through a direct messaging system as well. Again, just like you are all over the US or maybe all over the globe, our faculty, they are all over the US and sometimes all over the globe, depending on where they are at in their point in time. We do utilize Moodle currently, which is our learning management system, which gives you, again, access as long as you have a sufficient internet connection. And by sufficient, we're not talking about 100 meg download and all that stuff. We have individuals taking our programs in areas that have very spotty internet connectivity, and they are still able to successfully go through the program. Also, Moodle is a licensed material that we use. And in that, the licensing company has an app that will actually allow you to download the lectures at this point in time to be able to watch them offline as long as you're using the app. If you're using a desktop or laptop computer, you do need to be connected to the internet because the app does not function on a desktop, but it does work on a mobile device. And again, one of the best things about this is you are able to collaborate, learn, and hear different experiences from people all over the world. So, we tend to get into our little niches of where we're at, statewide, countywide, citywide, what have you. And it's always interesting to learn what others are doing in different parts of the US and different parts of the world. So the biggest thing, even if you don't choose University of Montana, I recommend that you look for a post-professional program that is offered by an accredited university. What does that mean? That means when you order your transcripts will be accepted and recognized by other universities. There can be some institutions out there that aren't accredited, so that's the biggest thing you want to look for. Now, the one thing you do want to note is that ACOTE does not accredit post-professional or transitional programs. They are in the business of accrediting first professional or entry-level programs, whether it be a master's program or a doctorate program. Now, the University of Montana is accredited by the Northwest Commission of Colleges and Universities. That is the accrediting body, obviously, for the Northwest region of the United States. And they say, yes, this degree is legitimate, your diploma is legitimate, your transcripts are legitimate. And again, the best thing out there is we are trying to elevate you to substantiate everything that you're doing by the research that backs it up. That's kind of one of the goals of the clinical doctorate, is saying, okay, we are doing this because the research shows this, and we are predicting these outcomes because the research has shown this. So the post-professional OTD program, as we have set forth, it is completed in a sequence. It's a sequential curricular methodology. So you're taking certain classes in certain semesters to get towards that doctorate. Again, as I mentioned, tuition is paid by semester, depending upon the number of credits you are taking in that semester. You can see the curricular outlay. In fact, you can see the actual financial outlay on our website. When you go into that, we like to be as transparent as possible so you can plan for your future appropriately. With the University of Montana, we do have 2 tracks. It's based upon your occupational therapy degree. So if you have a bachelor's in occupational therapy, it's 41 credits, 7 semesters. Again, simple math here, 41 times 425, excuse me, comes out to be $17,425. Those estimated fees there, the federal government requires an online degree curriculum to provide a third-party proctoring service. That's what those fees are there. They run roughly about $35 per semester. If you have a master's in occupational therapy and you're transitioning to the doctorate, it's a 30 credit program. Again, 5 semesters with 3 semesters per year. Math there, 30 times 425 comes out to be $12,750. And again, those fees right there, that $35 per semester that you pay directly to the proctoring service. We also have our application fee and then your graduation application fee, which runs roughly about $45. Outside of that, we do have books, required readings. However, we don't require you to buy them from a certain place. You can find them and utilize whatever resources you have available to you. You can look online at a used bookstore. You can do renting online nowadays. You can obviously purchase them used. So that is going to vary quite a bit. The application requirements, again, as I mentioned earlier, getting your OTD is not required for you to practice. This is something that you want to do to keep up with the profession. This is something you may have a personal goal to do. So therefore, we don't see a need to require multiple additional application requirements like letters of references, an essay stating why you want to do it. Those things are usually required to show that you are going to be a good candidate, you're going to be a good student, that you're going to have a drive to get to the end goal. You just wanting to do this when you don't need to do it, that is showing more drive than any reference we can get, that any letter that you can put together is going to show us. So therefore, we have really trimmed the fat when it comes down to the application requirements. We need your official transcripts. You need to fill out an application. And you need to have that occupational therapy license or equivalent, as long as you've graduated from an ACODE accredited institution. If you graduated from a non-ACODE accredited institution, we still want to be able to elevate the profession globally. So if you graduated from a foreign institution, and if you are foreign licensed, if you're not practicing here in the US, this curriculum can still be for you if you want to get your OTD. We just have a couple additional steps there. So one, we do need to make sure that your degree is equivalent to at least a US bachelor's or US master's in occupational therapy. You can go onto our website. We have a link there to a group called NACES, NACES.org. They are a governing body that has a bunch of members associated with it. You can choose any of those members to get your credentials academically evaluated. I see a lot of WES, World Education Service evaluations. They have a pretty good turnaround time, so you can check out them. Or you can check out any active member of NACES. And the other thing too is we want to make sure that you can succeed in this program, since it is all taught in English and everything needs to be submitted in English. If English is a second language for you and you are not US based and around English a lot, we do require that English proficiency results to make sure that you don't get in a program and English is a barrier for you. We don't want to have English being a barrier for you, so we want to make sure that we are at least a minimum standard there. And that is the short and skinny of the post-professional program for the occupational therapy doctorate at the University of Montana.
Thank you, Dr. Sheeler, for sharing the program information. We do have several questions in the queue, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with those. Dr. Lauer, our first question is for you. How is your curriculum different than other post-professional OTD programs?
Good question. I think we, first I would say that we really do strive to create a curriculum that is set for the working professional, so that the classes, the courses are available to be taken at a time and a place that's convenient for the learner, whether that's finding scopes of time before or after their work day, or on the weekends, or making it fit in between that work-life balance and family time, etc. We have a curriculum that is meant to be budget friendly, and so that that is manageable again by the working professional. And we try to build into the courses not only a focus on evidence-based practice, which I hope you'll find in all curriculums, but a focus again on advanced theory. Everybody has studied theory in occupational therapy, but this is at an advanced level, a deeper look. And then in all of the courses, we try to really emphasize an application of what it is you are learning. So there will be applied, course assignments and or writing of papers, but applying that knowledge or applying it in your work setting or developing a plan for how you're going to apply it in your work setting. So I think the work-life balance, the asynchronous nature of the courses, the tuition-friendly portion of the way this has all been designed, and the application of all of the new knowledge that the student is taking in is probably what I would say are the defining features that would make us look different than other post-professional programs. And I'll just say also that we try to bring into the courses trends or current practice. I think, for instance, we have a course on technology that is really a very good example of how that technology is changing the world, certainly changing and influencing occupational therapy practice. And you'll find those very current ideas and practice in the curriculum. And so I think we're staying very current that way.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lauer. Dr. Sheeler, we have one of our most popular questions again. Can you please go back over that timing and pricing again for the program?
Sure, yeah, it's always a concern for everyone about how long am I going to be in this program for, and how much it's going to cost. So our fees are very straightforward. We try and make it that way so it's easy to understand what you're going to have to, really what your financial responsibilities are as you go through this. So our tuition is a set $425 US per credit. If you have your bachelor's in occupational therapy, it's a 41 credit program. If you have your master's in occupational therapy, it's a 30 credit program. The bachelor's, as you can see there, is 7 semesters. The master's is 5 semesters. There's 3 semesters per year. So that puts your bachelor's at just over 2 years, and obviously your master's at just under 2 years. Each semester is 15 weeks in duration, so it doesn't matter what semester you start in, you're going to have the same opportunity to complete a class time-wise as you would if you were in the spring semester, summer semester, or the fall semester. Tuition is paid per semester, so it depends upon how many credits you are taking in that semester, but that's also outlaid on our website. When you go underneath the actual total tuition cost on our website, there's a link there that will actually take you to a different site and break apart that $17,425 into those 7 semesters, so you can see what your financial responsibility is for those 7 semesters. Same thing for the bachelor's level program. Those estimated fees that you see there are some additional known fees. We have our application fee, which we do run specials throughout the year that'll take it down from $85 and then down from there, $40. Sometimes we do a free application period as well. There's a graduation application fee, so that happens towards the end of your curriculum as you're going through there, that you have to pretty much look and make sure all of your grades are reconciled appropriately. But that fee is really covering the processing and shipping of your diploma. All diplomas are mailed out, whether you attend commencement or whether you don't attend commencement. And then the other additional fee in there is a proctoring fee. Being an completely online virtual program, we have to have a third-party independent proctoring service. What we try to do there, again, to lower those fees, is you just pay the proctoring service directly. We don't bump up those fees, so there's no additional fees on there. You just pay the proctoring service directly. That is a per semester fee. and it only applies to your quizzes and exams. Not all semesters have courses that have a quiz and exam in it. So that fee may be a little bit lower, or actually will be none if there are no quizzes or exams in that. You will know that when you get into your semester and you'll see, oh, there's no quiz and exams in this. I don't have to pay my proctoring fee for this semester.
Thank you, Dr. Sheeler. Our next question is, does the post-professional OTD have specialty tracks? Dr. Lauer, would you like to answer that?
Sure. There aren't specialty tracks in the way our courses have been developed and the curriculum has been designed. Great question, but we designed it to be more to appeal to everyone in terms of offering an advanced generalist program. And I could say the way that the specialty might come out for you as a student is going to be in your capstone project. So you're going to have a specific idea and a specialization to your project, whether that happens to be pediatrics, technology, low vision, health literacy, or diversity and inclusion. You're going to bring your specialty interest into your capstone project. And then you will be mentored throughout that capstone project by someone, a mentor, who also has a specialty interest in that area. So that's where it becomes of special interest to you and is facilitated by our faculty and or your mentor to get to that end product.
Wonderful. And the mention of capstone has led us to a different question, Dr. Lauer.
Okay.
I'm concerned about being able to research and write the capstone project. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, we have a lot of students with interest and maybe anxiety or questions about that capstone project. And I think there are a lot of unknown things, even when somebody matriculates into the program. There's still a lot of questions about what capstone will be, what it'll entail, and how will I get through it. So again, the program is designed to, every course is going to have some, very nice additions to the course and lead you to assignments and maybe writing papers and familiarizing yourself or refamiliarizing yourself with the APA format, with the OT practice framework, with tools that will eventually lead you to having a lot of strong tools to write that capstone paper and finish the project in the end. So knowing that students have a lot of questions about this, we've done a lot to identify resources for the students and put that in a student resource center. So you'll have access to a student resource center. And in there, you'll have links to webinars and videos that we've put together to answer frequently asked questions about the capstone. You'll have links to APA and writing tips and hints. So you'll have links to reminding yourself where to go for the OT practice framework. And so we've identified a lot of things that will, as resources that'll help the students from day one, and that you can revisit throughout your curriculum. So every time you're feeling as though you have more questions about capstone, the capstone's coordinator is available for you to speak with about those questions you have. I am available to speak with about those questions you have, and then your faculty is always willing to help you. So while you don't need all of those skills from day one, you do need to start developing all those skills from day one. And then by the time you get to capstone 1 and 2, which is very later on in the curriculum, we feel as though we've done enough within the courses before that to help you develop the strength and the knowledge and and have a lot of opportunities to help you write that capstone paper.
Thank you, Dr. Lauer. And I'm going to go ahead and put a link to a webinar we have that is specific for the capstone. In that webinar, we go over both of our capstone courses, capstone 1 and capstone 2. It's led by our capstone coordinator, And she goes in depth about how the capstone will be working for you and gives some different tips in that capacity. So please feel free to click on that link or save that link and watch that video at a different time.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for sharing that.
Perfect. And Jonathan, Dr. Sheeler, this next question will be for you. I have a BS from the Philippines. I'm licensed in the US. Can I still participate in this program, and how do I do that?
Yeah, certainly. So we allow anyone with a US equivalent occupational therapy degree into the program. We want to elevate the profession, not just here nationally, but globally. We like and enjoy seeing professionals from even other countries that have either immigrated here or are still in their country, having that drive to excel their knowledge, to excel their academics, to hopefully help improve their society where they are at and then improve global society. So to answer that question, directly to answer that question, we just simply need your transcripts directly from your school. We will need your NBCOT evaluation to be sent to us, and then also your occupational therapy license. Now, that is for those who have received their degree internationally and are now immigrated here and practicing with a US license. For those of you who have attained your degree from outside the US and are still practicing outside the US, what we'll need then is right there, you see there, the one additional thing is we need that academic equivalency. So if you are not here in the US and practicing in the US, we will need that academic equivalency. And you can go to any source there. You can see our NACIS or ACE. Those are two bodies that make sure that their members are holding a specific standard. So you can choose any member within those two organizations to have your academics reviewed. And as long as whichever body you choose comes back and says you have at least a bachelor's in occupational therapy, we fully accept you into the program. Also, I forgot to, English proficiency. So if you are not US licensed here, you also need to submit some type of English proficiency results, whether that be TOEFL, IELTS, MATLAB. We also now accept Duolingo as well. You can see all those minimum requirements there on our website.
Thank you, Dr. Sheeler. And we do have one last question for today. We actually get this question a lot as well. If I participate in the post-professional Doctor of Occupational Therapy program, how will this help me become a leader in OT?
I'll take that one. And how will it help you become a leader? Specifically, we have a couple of courses that are directly speaking about leadership and leadership opportunities, and asking the students to dive a bit deeper into understanding leadership and management roles. And one is teaching and leadership, and another course is professionalism. And in those courses, we do take a close examination of career goals and interests and possible next opportunities for leadership roles, whether that's on a state level or a national level or an international level. Those things are discussed, and students are encouraged to be advocates both for the profession and be leaders in the profession, and maybe take that step. Maybe they'll be encouraged to take greater steps for leadership roles. And then I want to point out that everybody that is at least considering, and if not enrolling in the post-professional OTD program, is right then and there showing a bit of leadership or a step towards elevating themselves in the profession and elevating the profession of occupational therapy. And so not everybody needs to be in a leadership role where they have a title, or they're in a paid leadership role, or they're in a very, nationally recognized leadership role. I think there are small steps to leadership, and just thinking about this curriculum and taking that step is one of them. So congratulations on being a leader.
Thank you, Dr. Sheeler and Dr. Lauer, for all of the answers to the questions. It looks like that was the very last one. I'm going to quickly share my screen. And in case you have additional questions, please feel free to email us at otd@rehabessentials.com, and we'll get back to you within 48 hours. Especially if it's a weekend, give us a little bit of time because we're not on all the time. And then also, if you're looking for more information, you can visit our website at umt.rehabessentials.com. If you would prefer to host a virtual meeting, we do have a Calendly, and I'm going to put that into the chat here. And that will allow you to schedule a virtual meeting with one of our admission teams member. Most likely, you'll be talking to Dr. Sheeler, who you met today. With that, want to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to your application. Thank you.
Thank you all for participating. We really appreciate your interest and your questions. Thank you.
Thank you for reviewing this webinar. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.